Hello everyone, Steven here from Radolescence, and welcome back to another fragrance review. And this time we'll be taking a look at a brand new fragrance by Bvlgari, and the fragrance is called Bvlgari Man in Black. Here's the bottle, gorgeous looking bottle with black and rose gold finishes. It was released just this year in 2014, and unfortunately I don't know who the perfumer is for this fragrance. I looked on Fragrantica.com, basenotes.com, NST Now Smell This. I've even emailed the company. Unfortunately I couldn't find out who the perfumer is, but what I do know is that this is a flanker of the original Bvlgari Man, which was released in 2010, and the perfumer for that fragrance is Alberto Morillas, who has done classics like Aqua di Gio. So it may very well be the same perfumer, even though I would say that the smell of each fragrance is very, very different. So please make sure that you check it out before you buy it. Just because you like the original doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to like this version or any other flanker versions. They do have several different versions. They have the extreme version. They also have a silver limited edition version. So please make sure you try them out before you buy. Now, Bvlgari is an Italian fashion brand, even though the founder of the company, who I think founded the brand in the late 1800s, he's actually Greek, and Bvlgari is spelled the way that it is with the V because of the classic Latin alphabet, but it is pronounced Bvlgari. So as far as this fragrance goes, it seems to follow the trend of the up-and-coming and emerging black or noir or dark or night fragrances, and many of them are nothing more than an attempt for the companies to get their slice of the cake. They want to cash in on the profits, if you will. I'm going to let you know if I think this fragrance is a money grab or if it's actually worth the price tag. Next up, let's take a look at the presentation. The presentation for Bvlgari Man in Black is exquisite. It has a really nice texture on the box here. This part is actually embossed. It pops up a little bit. You have the name of the fragrance, the name of the company up here at the top, some information down here at the bottom. It is eau de parfum concentration, nothing going on at the top. On the back here you have the ingredients, and at the very bottom you have your UPC code with the serial number right above that. That's pretty much it for the box. Really nice looking presentation. As far as the bottle goes, this is also a beautiful bottle. I know you can't tell by the video, but this actually has a very dark, matte, frosted glass here in the front, and then you have the name of the fragrance written here in the front in this rose gold color. I love that color combination, black and rose gold. I think they really outdid themselves. The very bottom here you have a sticker with some pertinent information which should coincide with the ones found on the bottom of the box, and as far as the cap goes, you have another intricate pattern engraved here at the top with the name of the fragrance engraved into the perimeter of the top. Now, just like the original Bvlgari Man, if you want to disable the sprayer, you just rotate the cap and that allows you to not be able to spray it. Then you put it back in place. The atomizer works very well, especially considering that it's an eau de parfum concentration, so it sprays out enough relative to the concentration. And that has been the presentation for Bvlgari Man in Black.
Hey, what's up Stevens, what's up guys? I came here today just to give my quick take on Man in Black by Bvlgari. This fragrance is very peppery when you first put it on, with that splash of booziness. I thought it was gonna be boozier than that, but unfortunately it's not. And then the leather comes up, but it's a very soft leather with some gaiac wood and the tonka bean. It's a very warm scent. I think it would be suited best for fall or probably spring night. But I didn't say winter because I don't think it's strong enough to cut through the winter time. It's not a monstrous projector or doesn't have long longevity or anything. So this is my quick take on Bvlgari Man in Black. Thank you Steven, thank you everybody, and peace.
My friend Syed says, boring, nothing special. Michael tried this a couple of weeks ago, and it's really nice. He thinks the bottle looks cool too. Robert agrees with Michael. I think it's the best the house has done so far. A black version of the TDNA, real nice. I would buy it. Chaz says, this is a wonderful fragrance and it's one of the best from the Bvlgari house in a very long time. I'm testing out a sample and every time I've worn this I felt like $1,000,000 and it's so versatile. The lady likes this a lot and I just may have to buy an actual bottle. Frankie says, I tried this about 2 weeks ago and I love the rum and leather notes in this fragrance. Unfortunately, these two notes alone aren't enough. Can't bring myself to buy a bottle. And lastly, Anthony says, this was my getaway fragrance to the house of Bvlgari. I always discounted this brand because I figured they couldn't be all that great. I was wrong. this led me to sample Bvlgari Man Extreme, which I also acquired. Smells like a better version of Isimiyaki Poron. Bvlgari Man in Black opens up with a very appealing introduction. It opens up with the note of rum, or what I would like to say, the accord of rum. So many fragrances have boozy notes or alcoholic notes to them, and this one has one of them. Now, I don't think it has a rum accord or a rum note. I think it's more so the perfumer's alcohol working hand in hand with all of the spices that this fragrance contains. One of the listed notes or accords in this fragrance is spice or spices. And of course, as I'm sure you know, spices and herbs are also used in the fermentation of many alcoholic spirits. So with this fragrance, it contains rum, and it really does smell like an alcoholic spirit right in the opening. However, it is versatile, and it recedes to the background rather quickly. Now, I think it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the fragrance. You can almost imagine yourself now, because of that opening, it evokes a feeling of somebody having like a classy cocktail or an alcoholic drink at a bar, dressed up in a suit and tie, and just being very confident with himself. And that's really the mental image that this fragrance limbs. It's the mental image that it calls forth. Now, it does have that spicy introduction, and the spices that I get from this fragrance not only include pepper. I think this is a very peppery fragrance, not as much as Marc Jacobs Bang, but if you're a fan of pepper or peppery smelling fragrances, I would definitely make sure to check this one out. Also, if you're a fan of Spice Bomb, I would make sure to check this fragrance out. The reason I say that is not because the two smell similar, although I would say they smell about 25% similar, and many people have made connections between the two. I think it's the fact that not only does this fragrance contain black pepper, it also contains what I think is pink pepper. Now, pink pepper is a type of berry, and not only does it have a spicy odor profile, it also has a rosy nuance to it too. Spice Bomb also contains pink peppercorn. So I'm pretty positive this fragrance has pink pepper, which is the reason why it has that rosy smell. It has an air of seduction about it, but it also has a spicy nuance that really draws people in, and I think it really calls forth a very beautiful blend of notes. And for a flanker, I was really surprised. When you look at the original note breakdown for the original Bvlgari Man, it contains the note of honey. This fragrance does not contain honey. The only thing in here that could potentially be giving off a little bit of sweetness is tonka bean and benzoin. Benzoin is a type of resin which has a vanillic overtone, but it also has a slightly smoky and medicinal smell to it. Now, there's a smoky nuance in this fragrance. I can't tell if it's coming from the benzoin or from this leather note, which comes across as a very smooth and balmy leather note. I know it contains iris and tuberose. Tuberose and iris have a very similar smell in my experience. I have a fragrance by Histoire de Parfum called Tuberose 1, also known as Capricious, and it contains both iris and tuberose, and it kind of gives off like a waxy smell. This fragrance does certainly have a waxy smell. And according to the note breakdown, this is all laying on a bed of Gaiac wood. I think that this is an amazing blend of notes. It's these kinds of fragrances that get released in the fragrance industry that really restore my faith in designer fragrances. I absolutely love this one. I'm so happy that I made this purchase. And believe it or not, I actually made this purchase blind, just going off of the note breakdown. Shouldn't have done it, but I'm very glad in the end that I did. Going hand in hand with all of these noir or dark or black releases, I think this one is actually worth it. I don't think this one is a money grab. I don't think they did it, well, they didn't do it entirely to follow suit with what else is happening in the industry. I think they really had a concept that they were trying to push forward. I think it's supposed to be like Vulcan, which is the god of earth. But despite the whole theme and the marketing, I think that this is an amazing smelling fragrance. All in all, I do get a little bit of honey sweetness. I want to conclude with that. I know honey is a note that's listed in the original Bvlgari Man. I also get a little bit of that honeyed, thick, resinous sweetness from this fragrance. Again, could be the honey, could be tonka bean, could be benzoin, but I do get a little bit of sweetness in the background, and I think the sweetness in combination with the spiciness and this leather note, which kind of can be confused with tobacco, I think that that's what confuses people or allows for the comparisons to be made with Victor and Rolf Spice Bomb. I do think that they bear some similarities. I'm not dismissing that, but I don't think that they're you know, a carbon copy of each other. I think that they both stand out in their own unique way. Overall, you have a very spicy, boozy fragrance, a boozy introduction that settles into a waxy mid with a leathery nuance, which just smells amazing, and it has this spicy characteristic all around it. It's very sophisticated, it's dark, it's mysterious, and according to the marketing, it's bold and charismatic, and I think bold and charismatic it indeed is. Love this fragrance, very happy to have it in my collection. Last up we have the rating. First up we have uniqueness and overall smell, and I'm going to give Bvlgari Man in Black an 8 out of 10. I absolutely love the smell. I think it's incredibly unique. Despite the comparisons that have been made with Victor and Rolls Spice Bomb, I do think that it's its own unique fragrance. Fixatives were used very successfully, hence the reason why this fragrance lasts as long as it does, and it is eau de parfum concentration. However, I do think that the spices to some people could be a little bit overwhelming, despite the fact that it does have some sweet undertones that kind of make it more approachable or more accessible, if you will. But I would still sample this one before you buy. I think the spices can get to some people. It is a very dark or black fragrance, if you will. Next up we have longevity. This is an eau de parfum concentration. I get 8 to 10 hours on my skin. I do get upwards of 10 hours. I'm gonna have to give this one a 9 out of 10. I was verging toward a 10 out of 10. I'm gonna have to give it a 9 out of 10 for longevity. As far as projection goes, I'm gonna have to give this one a 6 out of 10, surprisingly. This does project very well, and it projects for a long period of time, but I don't feel like it really jumps up off your skin. It is an eau de parfum, so that could be what explains the lack of projection for this fragrance. It does project for a long time, but for me, it never really radiated beyond an arm's length. But the performance is very good, so you can expect people to smell you for a long period of time. I would say upwards of 6 hours, which to me is excellent projection. Next up we have versatility. I had to give this one a 6 out of 10. I think that this would work best in the colder months. I think this would be overkill in the spring and summer. In terms of occasions, the price tag, the value of this fragrance, and the smell, the compositional nature really evokes upscale scenarios. You know, wearing it to a fancy party, wearing it to a lounge, wearing it to a wedding or some sort of formal occasion like that. I think that this would work best in those scenarios. Casual wear, not really. I also wouldn't chance wearing this one on a date. I would reach for something a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more, you know, compliment getting, or a little bit more versatile or accessible, if you will. Also, in terms of age range, I think this is more for a mature gentleman. It doesn't have a dated smell to it. Please, I want to caution people against that. It does not have a dated smell to it. But I also can't see a teenager wearing this, you know? I would say somebody late 20s, 30s and up. And then, of course, lastly, we have presentation. I already told you what I feel about that. I love the color combination. I love the cap. I love the sprayer. I ended up giving this one a 9 out of 10 for presentation. And overall, I'm going to give Bvlgari Man in Black a 9 out of 10. I think that this is an amazing fragrance. I love what Bvlgari did with this release. I think that this is the best Bvlgari fragrance, right behind Bvlgari Black, which is, you know, my favorite Bvlgari fragrance, honestly. I think it's so unique. Anik Minardo really knocked it out of the park with that one. This one, I think it's a justified flanker. I don't think it's a money grab. I don't think they did it solely or entirely for the purpose of milking the consumers' wallets. I think they really had a concept in mind. They executed it perfectly, and this is an amazing blend of notes. Really unique fragrance, one of the best releases of 2014. So there you have it. That was my review of Bvlgari Man in Black. If you own or have tried this fragrance, please let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to rate and subscribe for future videos and frequent giveaways. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Steven with another fragrance review from Radolescence. See you soon.